I thought what I would do today is run through a little PowerPoint of all the great things we're doing in tourism, all the exciting things around the state that we're doing. I'm gonna run through it pretty quickly and then take questions, because as I do all over the state, everybody has a different interest in some of the things we're doing. And it's amazing when I travel the state, a lot of these things we're doing have been talked about in Louisiana for a long time. And to be able to take those ideas from the local community and actually do something with them is pretty exciting. And we do have the most incredible, passionate people that work in tourism of anywhere. And I've traveled all over in the last 3 years. And we were very fortunate to have people here in Louisiana that truly have a love and passion for their city, their town, their swamp tour, their plantation home. So it really makes it easy working with them to promote the state. Now, these are all the departments under the Lieutenant Governor's office. And I won't go into each and every one of them, but one thing I do want to stress that a lot of people don't realize, over the last 10 years before I got in office and took several $1 million cuts each year, the Lieutenant Governor's office was cut by more than 50%. Everybody asks, why do I have a good working relationship with the governor? That is important. The last governor took $54 million from state parks. They were very close to closing when we took office, band-aiding, putting things together to keep them open. We also have to take tourism money each year to fund a lot of programs that used to be funded out of the state general budget. For instance, 6 years ago, arts got $6 million, $5 or $6 million in state money. They get zero. Well, we take a little over $1 million of tourism dollars and we give that to the arts because we get federal matching grants. And I'm proud to say that every parish gets grants from our arts program because of that money. We fund things in the library system like Services to the Blind, Volunteer Louisiana. But if we don't take some of that tourism money and move it around, one, we'll lose valuable programs that are so important to those people, especially special needs, but also to the so vital, like Volunteer Louisiana, where we get federal grant money. So we'll continue to do that, and it's a double-edged sword, because when I go to legislators and say, you know, you ought to be funding this, they say, well, Billy, we know if we don't fund it, you're going to take care of it. So we'll continue to do that and continue to advocate for those departments that are not funded. Now, y'all know who this guy is. I like to put the Michelin Man up there because to give, you know, tourism is big business in Louisiana. And to give you an idea of where we've come from 1957, when the Michelin guy put a tourism guide on the brochure, on the counter, and while you were getting new tires for your car, you'd flip through it and hopefully travel more and use more tires. And that was the first tourism guide that had people traveling around America. But from 1957 to today, where it is big business, the fourth largest employer in the state, $1.8 billion in taxes generated last year that you and I didn't have to pay, and that's a little over $1,000 per family. So when you're fighting for the tourism budget in Baton Rouge, you got to think about it shouldn't rank above healthcare, education, and fixing our roads, but it is an important part of our economy. And I've learned very quickly that if we don't do more to promote it and keep it in the forefront, your state will suffer. Colorado, 1 year, cut out the tourism budget. 10 years later, they still haven't recovered. That old saying, out of sight, out of mind. So the tourism money is so important. And I know there's a real struggle in New Orleans between the tourism officials and the mayor down there of whether they should give up some of that money. Now, before we go on, I'm gonna share quickly 3 30-second spots, because everybody says, I never see y'all advertise tourism in Louisiana. Well, that's because you're already here. The only thing we advertise here is a staycation, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want to share with you real quick the Uniquely Louisiana 3 commercials we'll be marketing through social media all over the country.
This is a ticket stub. You'd normally toss it out, but not today. Today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you took a face-flattening high-octane airboat through the marsh and ended up back in the time of dinosaurs. Today, you savored seafood that hadn't crossed state lines. Today, you danced till your soul felt good and your souls ached. That ticket stub, you tuck it away as a reminder, because today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a shrimp po' boy. It could just be a sandwich, but today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you got up with the sun to enjoy the best bass fishing on Earth. Today, you walked historic halls where ghosts might pay a visit, but spirits are always present. Today, you wandered into a hole-in-the-wall cafe and fed your soul with a frosty local brew and this shrimp po' boy. Anywhere else, it's just a sandwich. But today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a hat. You can get one anywhere, but today you're in Louisiana. You forgot your favorite one at home, of course, so you got this one and some change. You gave some of that change to the band who got your 2 left feet to dance, and a few dollars to a man who typed up a poem just for you. You saved the rest for a dozen fresh oysters and a Sazerac, one to feed your face, the other to feed your soul. The hat, it's your new favorite, because today you're in Louisiana.
So we'll be marketing all over the country, but also we have really started to market more internationally. And the reason we're doing that is we're enjoying some new direct flights into New Orleans, so we don't have to lure those international visitors as much from Dallas, Houston, Atlanta. But the international traveler stays longer, spends more money. We just got back from a trip from China, and the Chinese spend an average of $6,900 per person when they travel. We saw a 37% increase last year in international travelers to Louisiana, second in the country. And that's why we are venturing out to see more international markets come into Louisiana. And we're researching a lot of data to see what are the best places we should market. Obviously, the London flight, so that's a natural, and the Germany flight into New Orleans. So we're participating in many events and tourism events in those areas to encourage those travelers to come. Now, we recently went to China, and we were there for the International Tourism Summit that they have every other year in a foreign country. This year it'll be in Seattle. And to give you an idea of that market, in Shanghai alone, they issue 4,000 visas a day to come to America. One city. The amount of people that are traveling from China to America is incredible. So we were able to go there with our tourism partners, meet with all the travel agents, and they said if we went there and spent a little time and worked that market, that they would definitely reciprocate to Louisiana, and they have. Since we've been there, they've already sent 2 groups of writers and bloggers to Louisiana that have gone out throughout Louisiana to talk about the great things to do here in Louisiana. And I'll tell you this, the one great draw we have here in Louisiana to this market is General Chenault. His granddaughter went with us, and I got up to speak, they clapped. When she got up to speak, they stood. Everyone in China remembers General Chenault and his contribution to the Chinese people, and he is a hero in that country. So having that museum in North Louisiana is a great draw for us to get people to see more of just Louisiana and get them out of New Orleans and head north. Great opportunity for us. Another thing we learned about this market is they love to go where movies were shot and, of course, where people were shot, like Bonnie and Clyde. So we have come up with a new way to promote our film industry, Lights, Camera, Louisiana. And we're talking about all the great movies that were shot here, and, of course, Bonnie and Clyde shot right here. There's a new movie out, a TV show by Kevin Costner, Highwayman, that was filmed right here in Louisiana. So a great opportunity for us to promote the film trail through Louisiana. Now, this past year, the tax credits were in jeopardy in the last special session. And we had learned early on that the film industry had a great benefit to tourism, but we just didn't know how much. So we did a study last year that we were able to get just in time for that last special session. And it showed that 57% of the people that visit Louisiana are influenced somewhat by something they saw on TV in a movie. But 9% make their decision heavily influenced by something they saw on a TV show or in a movie. Duck Dynasty. This past year, Girls Trip put Essence Festival over the top. Their best year ever. Matter of fact, people are still looking for the zip line on Bourbon Street. But a great opportunity for us to market where those films were shot and promote getting people moving on that film trail around Louisiana. One thing we hope to do, we hope to get the movie producers and films that are going to be filming here in Louisiana to leave behind something that we can use in a museum one day. And we also want to encourage them to highlight the town or city they're filming in. Maybe they superimpose Baton Rouge across the bridge or on a water tower or the back of a bus. But we want to make sure we give credit and it'll draw people to those areas. Much like Steel Magnolia did, put Natchitoches on the map. People still go there to see that home. So a great opportunity for us to really promote all of Louisiana through the film industry. And also, when you talk about 5 million people visiting because of something they saw in a movie or TV show, that's a little over $1.3 billion in economic impact. It kind of makes those tax credits a little bit more valuable, balance out the value, because it's not just the tax credits for the people they employ and the money they spend here. It has a long-lasting effect on the tourism industry for us here in Louisiana. Now, a couple of these slides I put in here because it's important, and these programs are always in jeopardy when we're looking at budget cuts. The Main Street program, which we continue to fund through our office, has had a great economic impact and really has saved so many small communities around the state. That program, coupled with the historical tax credits that are going into so many buildings, continue to be the lifeline of some of these smaller communities. The Bentley Hotel reopened, would have never happened had it not been for the historical tax credits. And that hotel has had great impact, not only on the historical value it brings to that community, but on the tourism industry. Part of the D-Day invasion was actually filmed at that hotel. So it's a great opportunity for us to take a historical building and couple it with the tourism industry to really promote Alexandria. So it's more than just restoring these buildings, it's adding value to those communities that without those historical tax credits would not be possible. Now, we talked a little bit about the arts and how we fund that with all these grants. I always throw this in here when I'm speaking to groups simply because the arts community is so important to the quality of life in so many communities around the state, and so many of those programs are being canceled and cut back, not only on a state level, but on a local level, and we're proud of that money that we're able to take from tourism to fund those grants for every parish in the state. And I like to tell people we've got so much talent in this state when it comes to the arts. We've got to continue to keep that on the forefront. Now, we're very proud this year. Finally, the Cabildo's back in good shape, and we've got our second exhibit. We've had the King and Queen of Spain here to highlight the 300th anniversary, a great exhibit from Spain. We didn't do a real good job at getting the word out about that exhibit, but I want to tell you, the life of Miss Montalba is there right now, and it's worth seeing. The incredible influence she had on New Orleans, those beautiful apartments she built. She designed Jackson Square. As a matter of fact, if you wonder why Andrew Jackson is faced sideways in the square, rearing up on his horse, tilting his hat, she had a crush on him. and she wanted to sit on her balcony and have him looking at her every morning when she drank her coffee. So pretty incredible the influence she had in New Orleans as a woman in the construction business back in that day. She inherited $500,000 at 2 years old when her father died. Had a dispute with her father-in-law over money. He shot her 4 times in the breast. She survived. And just incredible stories about this lady's life. And you can see that at the Cabildo now through October. Her family came in when we opened the exhibit, her grandson and great-grandson. Great opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about her life. But we're real proud to finally, these are the first exhibits we've had at the Cabildo in over 20 years. And that historical building is a treasure in itself. To finally get it sealed, painted, and in good shape. And now we're going to continue to have new exhibits going on at that museum. Now, we rocked in the new year with Dick Clark. This was the 3rd and final year of our 3-year contract. And hopefully we're able to re-sign a contract. We're a victim of our own success. They want to raise the price. We'll have to talk about that. But to give you an idea of the value of this show, at midnight, when people go to sleep in New York, instead they turn and watch this show in New Orleans. You've got 20 to 30 million people watching this show. And at the end of the year, if you're like me, your New Year's resolution and where we're going to go on vacation, we could not afford to pay for this kind of advertisement. To give you an idea, 30 million people watched this show last year. Grammy's commercial cost $2.5 million for 30 seconds. More people watched this than watched the Grammys last year. Excuse me. So a great opportunity for us to promote Louisiana. We had a chef on there. We played some Zydeco music. A great opportunity to have people from all over the world watching. And these are the kind of things that we have to do to promote Louisiana to get more bang for our buck. And I'll talk about a few of the other things we're doing because we don't have the budgets a lot of other states have, the $30, $40 million to buy advertising all over the country and all over the world. So we've got to get creative in doing these kind of partnerships. We partnered with the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Now, this past year, we have our seafood, king or queen of seafood. We crown every year, and we do that at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette. And then that chef represents us at the national competition at the restaurant show in New Orleans. And for the first time in 7 years, we brought the crown home. Blue Dog Cafe, Ryan Trahan won, beat out 14 other chefs from around the country. And it's the first time in 7 years we brought it back to Louisiana, which is real important because Ryan gets to travel the country, not only promoting tourism, but the best seafood in the world right here in Louisiana. Now, I tell people the only place in Baton Rouge there's extra money is in the Seafood Promotion Board. But don't tell anybody. Let's keep that our secret. What we were able to do was we were able to get BP to extend that money through the end of this year. It was supposed to end last year. We went back to them and said, we want to do something a little different with this money. We want to support the universities, nonprofits, charitable. So now we front seafood to any event for nonprofit or charitable or universities. Northwestern did the best. They gave local seafood to all the restaurants. They were able to cook their best dish, so you wanted to go eat at their restaurant. And they sold 600 tickets at $150 a head, sold out, second year in a row. All that money goes to the university. I think Grambling and Southern have taken advantage of it, and we've made that offer to all the universities to give them the opportunity to raise some money for whatever cause at the university. Special Olympics, we bought all the crawfish for their event, and they were able to send additional athletes to Seattle to compete in the International Special Olympics this past year. So we want to make sure we're getting more bang for our buck. We're letting people leave with a good taste in their mouth, and we're helping some great causes all over Louisiana. And since we started refocusing that money in that direction, like I said, BP has extended it through the end of this year, and hopefully we'll get them to extend it further because of the good things we're doing with that. Now, every year we try to have a little fun with the crawfish season, and we take and pardon one lucky crawfish. Now, we partnered with Zatarans, and we named that crawfish Emil, after Emil Zataran, who came up with that crawfish ball a little over 100 years ago. Now, we take one lucky crawfish out the Atchafalaya Basin, we bring him to New Orleans, and we pardon him at the New Orleans Mint, and then we let him go in the state park while the rest of his family gets boiled alive. Now, last year was invited for St. Patrick's Day to the White House along with 5 other lieutenant governors, and the president walks out, everyone runs up to the president. Well, I walked over to the vice president, and we were talking about recovering from the flooding here in Louisiana, how we were coming back, and because we had taken them around when they were campaigning down here in 2016. And I said, Mr. Vice President, we're doing good, things are coming back. I said, look, I know Thanksgiving, y'all get to pardon a turkey here at the White House. He said, oh, Billy, it's a big deal. You know, usually we take 2 turkeys, clean them up, they parade around the grounds. I said, yeah, I know the story. I said, back in Louisiana, first Tuesday after Mardi Gras, we take one lucky crawfish. I tell him the story, we bring it to New Orleans, we pardon him. We let him go in the state park while the rest of his family gets boiled alive. And he looked at me and said, son, what the hell are you talking about? So the vice president didn't quite work as well as I thought. But we have a lot of fun with it. We got a lot of press around the country about pardoning the crawfish in Louisiana. And it's a great way to kick off crawfish season every year. And we partner, like I talked about, partnering with private-public partnership. This is a great opportunity for us to partner with a local company and have a lot of fun. Now, last year, with the full support of the legislators, we were able to form a Culture, Recreation, Tourism Foundation. We've got to tweak that law this year to allow us to do some of the amazing things that we want to do with our state parks. This is a resort conference center in a state park in West Virginia. In a little over 6 years, their share of the revenue was a little over $50 million. We have 500 acres on Lake Pontchartrain right next to Fontainebleau State Park. We are right now doing the feasibility study, partnering with the local tourism folks to see about putting one of these facilities next to that state park. But we want a private-public partnership with anybody that wants to do something in the state park that will give us an opportunity to open those doors and offer more great things to do in the state park. We just moved a gentleman's horseback operation into Bogue Chitto. We get $2 a half day and $4 a whole day. He's making a bunch of money. We have hundreds of people riding horses there. We just filmed a national horseback riding TV show at our state park. Our cabins at a lot of our parks are always full. If you want to build additional cabins there and give us 20% and keep 80% for your construction cost, we'll put it in our rental system. We want to talk to you. We've got people talking about lazy river. One thing we won't do, we won't allow someone to come into the state park and do something that is not fit within the right atmosphere of the state park. Makes noise, causes disruption, and we will not let anyone come in and compete with local business. We will make sure we vet it with elected officials, the tourism folks, the chamber, to make sure it's a win-win. Because if we hurt one local business, it's defeating its purpose. So as we go through this process, and we've gotten some crazy ideas, and we've gotten some really good ones. So we're hoping as we get the word out, we'll see more private-public partnerships to enhance the visitation there and to allow us to do more things that people want to do in those state parks and allow some local entrepreneurs to make some money. So you may know of something or somebody that has an idea. We're also going to take that building we own in the French Quarter where we store art, and we're going to get that building into commerce. It's too valuable property in the French Quarter to store art. And I believe by doing a 99-year lease, either condos or a hotel, something, we can bring millions into the park system, into the museum system, that'll allow us to offset the tax dollars we have to spend to maintain the museums. You know, on the long haul, it doesn't make sense to take money from anything else to keep our parks, our historical sites up. But this is going to give us money on the long term to really start putting the money to restore some of these great historical landmarks that has been deteriorating for years. I really believe that through these private-public partnerships that we will see a day where we won't need tax dollars to keep up our state parks, our historical sites, or our museums. We're looking at some of the museums allowing someone to come in there to open a restaurant or to serve food. All those kind of things that they're doing in other states already to bring revenue into the system can help us become self-sufficient in running and maintaining those facilities. So this is my favorite. Everywhere I go, I ask everyone, and I'll ask you today, to take one vacation when you normally would leave Louisiana and go see a part of Louisiana you haven't seen. I promise you will not be disappointed. Now, I had the opportunity to stand up in front of a group of 500 high school kids, and after I did my little dog and pony show, I said, so first question, little girl in the front row says, so Lieutenant Governor, where are you going on your staycation? Well, she got me. I froze. I said, Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches. That was the first thing I could think of. So I went home that night and told my wife, look, the week before Christmas, we're not doing anything. Why don't we go to Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches? She said, why there? I said, it's the only thing I could think of. But we caught a lot of fish in Toledo Bend, and then we went to Natchitoches. And if you've ever been to this hardware store, they've got every game from when you were a kid. It's been in the same family for over 100 years. Well, after my mother-in-law went through the store and posted all the things she got on Facebook, 20 of her family members have come from Houston to go to Natchitoches. So it works. You're going to have a lot of fun no matter where you go. You're going to meet some great people and see some amazing things and eat some amazing food. And you're going to go home and talk about it. And that's going to drive more people to those areas. So that's a real opportunity for us to really help drive tourism right here in Louisiana. And you can also help by signing up and being an ambassador at #OnlyLouisiana. Tell us about that special place you've been, video. Now, we got some videos from Mardi Gras we couldn't use, so don't send us any of those. But it's an opportunity for you to tell your own story. And that's what you're the best salesperson for Louisiana. So you post those pictures, we'll send you a neat little thing making you an ambassador in the mail, and then we'll share those stories with the world. We'll never have the money to go around Louisiana and promote and talk about all the great things to see and do, but you can help us do that by signing up as an ambassador. Now this year, we decided it was time to change the brand. Now ever since I got elected, people are like, when are you going to change it? I said, well, first off, pick your passion fits the people of Louisiana very well, because we're very passionate people. Second reason we didn't change it, I still got to go to Jay to get my budget approved. And that was his idea. So we thought we'd wait a while. But we looked around the country, and we wanted to make sure that we let the data drive how we branded Louisiana. And we found Michigan, pure Michigan, and we hired that guy. And he went around the country and into Canada, and he did focus groups. What does Louisiana mean to you? Mardi Gras, food, music. And every one of the focus groups came back to Louisiana Feed Your Soul. You can feed your soul with music, with fun, with fishing, and it gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling. And as a matter of fact, we were just nominated. We got a Golden Award, one of 18 in the whole world. And next week we'll be in New York to see if out of those 18 Golden Awards, we get the Platinum Award for the best brand, up against 3 other states. The rest are from out the country or specialty marketing groups that marketed a resort. But we will pick one of the best 18 in the entire world, and a great group of people that worked on this. Now, we knew we didn't have the money that you need to get this brand out, so we were able to get all of our tourism folks, while everybody enjoyed Mardi Gras last year, your tourism folks from around the state gave up Mardi Gras Day, And we went to Dallas, Houston, Atlanta. I picked Washington, D.C., and it was freezing cold. I should have went to one of the other cities. But we were able to wrap a food truck, and we served king cake, and we fed people's soul. And incredible, once again, by putting our ideas together and getting out there and rolling up our sleeves and doing the work, we got publicity all over the world. 10 times what it cost us to do this in online and social media as we rolled out our brand last Mardi Gras Day. And before I take questions, I'm going to share a short video with you how we feed our soul here in Louisiana.
Mention Louisiana, and images of Mardi Gras, jazz clubs, and late-night revelry are most likely the first things that come to mind. But there is far more to Louisiana than the Crescent City. And likewise, New Orleans is much more than the French Quarter and Fat Tuesday. Louisiana is a land of contrasts. Its different regions vary in physical appearance, from gentle rolling hills and lakes in the north to bayou swamps and the Gulf of Mexico in the south. Perhaps there is no better example of contrast than Louisiana's culture. Here, the American South meets French heritage. The result? A genteel Southern pace enveloped by a zest for life. And it's that pursuit of enjoyment that threads throughout Louisiana. Dancing to Zydeco in a local music hall, spicy boiled crawfish and the dare of how hot, casting a reel and hooking a fat bass, flying through a sea of grass on an airboat, the uneasy and mysterious thrill of touring a haunted antebellum home at night, the sound of jazz, blues, and soul drifting from back alleys and open doors. And yes, the craziest party in America, perhaps even the world. Louisiana isn't for spectators. It's for participants. For those that want to feed their soul and not only live the moment, but to become the moment. Here, excitement is a constant pursuit and one that's easily found. Louisiana, feed your soul.
I think the number one reason, of course, the food, the music, but you know, in Canada, I went around the table and talked to the travel agents. Every table had a story about the way we treat people, about someone going and bringing the chef out to give a recipe, or someone being lost and don't tell them, but take them to that destination. Story after story about how we treat strangers like their family. And these travel agents in Canada said, nowhere else in the world do they send people, do they come home with a warm and fuzzy feeling like they do from Louisiana. So our greatest asset isn't the food, the music, or Mardi Gras. It's the people here. We treat strangers like their family. They even said you invite strangers from Canada to your backyard to eat crawfish and you don't even know them. And so I came home from that trip from Canada so proud of Louisiana, and that's why our numbers keep going up. It's because we make people feel, strangers feel like their family. We wanted to talk about the value of tourism, how tourism is continuing to grow. You know, and it's not just the people coming. We're going to top 100,000 hotel rooms in Louisiana, and that's not just New Orleans. 23 hotels under construction as we speak. And we see businesses, the swamp tours. We see all kind of new businesses growing throughout all over Louisiana with the ball field expansions around the state. Travel ball is a big thing. So we're really excited about growing tourism for all of Louisiana. Just like this year, we promoted Mardi Gras not just New Orleans. Family-friendly Mardi Gras all over Louisiana. And when you promote in Arkansas Mardi Gras in Shreveport and Ruston and Natchitoches, they don't have to catch a flight. They can drive across the state line and enjoy Mardi Gras in North Louisiana. So we made that a big point this year to make sure that we would promote Mardi Gras all over Louisiana, home of Morgan City, Lake Charles, Lafayette, and we're getting a lot of interest in that. So I think we're going to continue to grow on that every year to every hotel in every part of Louisiana is full for Mardi Gras.
What does research show in terms of why do tourists from other countries and nationally come to Louisiana? What's the reason for that?
Well, obviously, we're known for a good time, our food, our music, our culture. But as I talk to leaders in tourism industry and people, travel agents, send people here, it's the people. We treat strangers like their family, and that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. They send people. We open up our doors to the world and welcome them. And that makes you so proud to be from Louisiana because it's our people that is the reason that these tourism numbers continue to grow.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
LouisianaTravel.com.